The COVID-19 virus may be the impetus for an intensification of another type of infection that has been affecting humanity for thousands of years. And this virus is called racism. 欢迎收看四海一家台湾. Welcome to Four Seas One Family Taiwan. My name is James. 我是纪明. Like many other viruses, racism appears the most serious at times of stress and ends up affecting those who are less fortunate, affluent, or in some cases, knowledgeable. 现在我要讲一个很明显的话题。这个话题不是太多人想碰触，但是因为社会以及世界的和平与和谐，我必须把它提出来，做一个很严正的讨论。Now, this virus does not discriminate, so it doesn't matter who you are. And the color of your skin doesn't predict if you can catch this virus or not. Also, where you are on the socioeconomic ladder isn't a shield that can prevent you from catching this virus. However, it may help you hide or buy some time from this virus, at least for a little while. For those of you who have underlying health conditions, the devastating effect of this virus that originated in Wuhan, China, can be overwhelming and even lead to death. What I have seen lately in the news worries me more than just a bit. I'm seeing reports on television and online concerning people of color, especially those from Africa, being subjugated to mistreatment in Guangzhou, China. People of color with a targeted focus on people from Africa were forced out of their living accommodations and barred from entering some establishments.
You're not allowed to go in? Well, I can go in. You can? Yeah, I can go in and they cannot. Come on.
And in some cases denied access to even their personal property. Now, many CCP supporters, both Chinese and foreign nationals in China, proclaimed that the individuals were evicted or ordered to leave their residence because of things like visa violations and involvement in illegal activities, some of which they stress were even related to drug use. From my connections in Guangzhou, both foreign nationals and Chinese nationals, this may have been the case for a limited few, but for the majority of the cases, this wasn't even remotely factual. I'm even more appalled to hear Western foreign nationals in China trying to legitimize this type of behavior towards people of color. Now, my point is, why were only people of color or Africans in particular were exponentially targeted for such actions that equivocated to persecution? In one situation, a pregnant African woman was denied entrance into a Chinese hospital.
没事 这个 no enter.
Oh, no. Why?
Why? Because she's a foreigner.
等一下。
Why 不是 we cannot enter? But then she's pregnant. We want to scan.
我问怎么沟通哎？
Actually, I expected this. That is why I'm recording.
先等等吧，我问一下别人好，等我一下。
So what is happening here is we went to some hospital. My wife is pregnant. We wanted to do a scan, but they cannot let us in. Foreigners cannot be let inside the hospital.
Now, was this because she's a foreigner or the color of her skin? I wonder why. On April 12th, officials ordered local authorities to implement rules and regulations that targeted foreigners and required them to unconditionally accept testing and containment measures. These measures included testing for COVID-19, and if results were returned positive, the affected individuals were ordered to go into quarantine. Cool. Now, Guangzhou police visited the homes of African residents and forced them to be tested on the spot for COVID-19. And at some locations, surveillance cameras were placed outside African residents' home to monitor their movements. Now, if these measures were carried out fairly towards everyone in Guangzhou, regardless of his or her nationality, of course these measures would be logical steps to take to prevent the spreading of this virus. However, Africans were targeted specifically because of reports or rumors that several Africans were not remaining in quarantine and were responsible for infecting other people. Now, the truth is, the vast majority of the spreading of the virus were happening between fellow Chinese nationals, many of whom were returning to Guangzhou from other locations, both domestically and abroad. So in reality, only a minuscule portion of the African population in Guangzhou may have been responsible for the spreading of this virus. Now, this is xenophobic behavior equals to state-sponsored racism.
You can see I've showed him all my documents. Now it wants to hit me the distance. Take. Take.
Sit down. Sit down.
You can see now. You can see now.
Sit down.
Now, before you want to pull out my hair, please listen to what I have to say. Widespread racism towards people of color and Africans in particular in China simply isn't represented adequately in the international media. The reality is we must allocate more time to analyze why racism at this level exists towards people of darker complexion in not only China, but also in other parts of the world as well. Honestly, this question goes way beyond what I want to talk about now. And I am aware of how the media mill works on all sides. I am also aware that much of what I'm observing is just overhyped, sensationalized journalism. Remember that no particular people, race, or nation following any specific religion, political, or social system has a patent on morality. So in other words, people of all nations, regardless of the system they live under, are all capable of doing both honorable and horrific things. No one culture, political system, or religion has a patent on these concepts and may at times falter. Now, however, I would like my friends and people who I would call family here in Taiwan to understand that there are no reasons to fear people who look like me. Good and bad people exist in all shades of gray. And no segment of the color spectrum is better than any other. So when we look at one another, let us all take the time to look beyond the surface, because we all know that looks can be deceiving. I also understand that reality is that racist people are everywhere. And the only way to avoid the spreading of this disease called racism is to invest more time into understanding people who are on the inside have the same dreams for themselves and the people they care about. I want the people of Taiwan to show the world that they are a shining light that has a better understanding of the way people of the world should coexist. And judging people on their skin color or the color of their passport shouldn't be used as a barometer or a predictor of who may be carrying or hosting this COVID-19 virus. I am proud to say that the people of Taiwan are wise enough and sensitive enough to not follow the same paths used across the straits. I'm happy to see Taiwan not wasting valuable time blaming others for the crisis that has fallen upon them. Instead, Taiwan decided to take an approach of solving issues that resulted after the discovery of the virus. Taiwan did not, across the board, forcefully quarantine individuals because of the color of their skin or the passport they carried. Taiwan simply dealt with the facts the virus presented before them without relying on racial profiling or stereotypes. Taiwan's responsible behavior and actions during this pandemic is an indicator that proves that it is already ready and willing to interact with the world and function as a beacon other nations can stand by and, most importantly, rely on. Racist, xenophobic attitudes must not be a method a government uses to classify and control people for any reason. Now, don't be surprised to learn that there are a few Chinese nationals in Guangzhou who didn't agree to the conditions people of color and Africans in particular were being subjugated to. Racism is a global issue that every nation must take a microscopic look at without selectively ignoring what they don't want to hear and see. 谢谢收看四海一家台湾. Thank you for viewing 4C's One Family Taiwan. My name is James. 我是纪明. Take care wherever you are in the world. 保重，再会。